Hello everyone. The first participant for this event is number 124, Sophie Tamagotchi.
My first name is Clara, which is quite pretty. My last name is Hutt, which is not. Although it does enable me to think of myself as Jabba the Hutt in my more self-loathing moments. If you ask my mother, she would shake her head extremely sadly, as if I were an especially precious puppy that had died in a terrible accident, and tell you she's just let herself go. I'm 33. And some days, I wake up with a feeling that my life isn't all it should be. I think I'm having some kind of crisis. Although I do have issues, I'm really not an envious person. I mean, I don't want to be anyone I'm not. Only myself. Well, maybe just a bit thinner, and smarter, and more dynamic, and more beautiful. Oh, never mind. My Life on a Plate by India Knight. My mother called me from her facial at Elizabeth Arden. She was frantic as only my mother can be. It's Robert's birthday next week, and we need to make a plan. Robert is my husband, and a bit of a mystery, really. I mean, does anyone actually know what goes on in their husband's head? Or is it just me? Clara? Yes, Mom. Oh, don't sound so disappointed, Clara. I am your mother. I know you are, Mom. Isn't it bliss? It is rude to be sarcastic. I'm not, Mom. Anyway, you are bliss. And it's true. She is sometimes. Just not today. Clara, you're so sly and rude, just like that horrible man. Now this is a reference to my father. Mom, we're talking about Robert, not Dad. Anyway, have you invited everyone? Do you think I have nothing better to do with my time than to chase all of you all over town? I actually have a very busy life. Very busy. The busiest, Clara. I know, Mom. I'm busy too. The boys. Oh, the boys! Those poor children. Oh, I must tell you. Your fingernails are a disgrace. Come in, dear. And she hangs up. Great, I thought. So on Robert's birthday, we'll all be having dinner together. Me, Robert and the kids, with my divorced parents, my Spanish stepbrother Jose, and his girlfriend. Oh, forgot to add, Robert's God only knows how obsessed with exercising, and absolutely amazingly beautiful French colleague, Naomi. Or in her own words, Naomi. It's funny. Every time I see her, I just know she's secretly doing her ab exercises. 1, 2, 3, 4. The dinner night is organized. 12 of us at the Olive Garden restaurant, 8 p.m. tonight. So my sons and I are meeting everyone there. Mommy! Charlie screeches. Charlie is 6, very impatient. Not now, darling. I'm parking. Mommy! I am parking. Mommy! Sorry, Charlie. I am parking. Don't make me want to break your legs. I parked the car. What was it, Charlie? I think I've got nits. My head is all itchy. Jack, my 4-year-old, drops his teddy with excitement. With legs, nits with head, and nose with teeth, and teeny weeny ears? Shut up, Jack. You were wrong, a toddler. You're Barbie. You're Cindy. You see, the problem with me is that I don't want to become one of those yelling mothers. So I basically ignore my children. The problem is that Charlie's language is already atrocious. The delegate spiked your bum with enormous fart. I have only myself to blame. Naomi's at the door of the Olive Garden to greet us. Clara, darling. Hey, Naomi. Darling. Oh la la. Don't you look marvelous? Mais non. What is that on your leg? Oh, that is jam. We were late. Mon Dieu! Well, I suppose it doesn't really show, huh? As we enter the restaurant, a friendly hand snakes itself around my waist. It belongs to my stepbrother, Jose, who works as a fashion photographer, although he only ever seems to take actual pictures once in a blue moon. Clara! You look beautiful. Have you met Staffy? He points to an absurd-looking cheerleader/model, obviously a couple years younger than him. I say, "Hello, Stacy. Utterly delighted to meet you." Stacy looks blank and says, "Oh my God! I did not know Clara was Irish." Jose winks at me and says to Stacy, "Actually, chica, she's Japanese." Whoa, that is like so cool! We do like a lot of world cheerleading tournaments like in Tokyo and other places and stuff, and your English is like, whoa, you know? I bow in geisha style, and she goes on. It's like you have to be like, up to the hand when someone tells you that you like need to improve your English. She dances away. I turn to Jose. "Another record-breaking model, Jose, huh? Where do you even find them?" He smiles. I couldn't look less Japanese if I tried. It's like mistaking an African tribal chief for Benny from ABBA. Okay, Clara, I get it. I just like you very much. My family are all well-dressed. The dinner is going great. Everyone seems so happy. But then, dun dun dun, disaster strikes. My cell phone rings. It's my boss. "Clara, there is the article I asked you to have by tonight." "Oh, hello, Mrs. Olga. I had some difficulties in getting in the article. You see, it's my husband's birthday, and you what? No article? Well, americano, dai, non niente. Magazzino battesiero tra attività e dai pieghi. Sorry, Mrs. Olga. I can give it in tomorrow. Нет! Свидание гостиница прийти русский язык. I cannot believe you forgot. This is an order. I want it tomorrow. First thing in the morning. Swear on your life, Clara. Yes, ma'am. I swear. Good night. Good night to you. Well, everything could be worse. And that's the moral of the story. That is a thing to remember. Thank you.
Please sit down so that we can start. Next participant is number 209, starting from Margaret's Frontiers.
Hello.
Scrambled Egg Super by Dr. Seuss.
I don't like to brag and I don't like to boast,
Said Peter T. Hooper.
but speaking of toast, and speaking of kitchens and ketchups and cake, and kettles and stoves and the stuff people bake, well, I don't like to brag, but I'm telling you, Liz, that speaking of cooks, I'm the best that there is. Why, only last Tuesday when Mother was out, I really cooked something worth talking about. You see, I was sitting there, resting my legs, and I happened to pick up a couple of eggs. And I sort of got thinking, it's sort of a shame that scrambled eggs always taste always the same. And that's because ever since goodness knows when, they've always been made from the eggs of a hen. Just a plain common hen. What a dumb thing to use with all of the other fine eggs you could choose.
And so I decided that just for a change, I'd scramble a new kind of egg on the range. Some fine, fancy egg that no other cook cooks. Like the eggs of the ruffle-necked Salamagooks. Ah, Salamagookses. Say, they should be good. So I went out and found some as quick as I could. And while I was lugging them back to the house, I happened to notice a tizzle-topped grouse in a tree down the street. And I knew from her looks that her egg and the egg of the Salamagooks
Ought to mix mighty well. Ought to taste simply super. When scrambled together by Peter T. Hooper.
So I took those eggs home and I frizzled them up, and I added some sugar, 2/3 of a cup, and a small pinch of pepper, and also a pound of horseradish sauce that was sitting around, and also some nuts. Then I tasted the stuff. And it tasted quite fine, but not quite fine enough. To make the best scramble that's ever been made, a cook has to cook the best eggs ever laid. So I drove to the country quite rather far out, and I studied the birds that were flirting about. I looked with great care at a mop-noodled finch. I looked at a beady-beaked bald-headed grinch. And also, I looked at a shade-roosting quail, who was roosting right under a lasso-lax tail. Then I looked at a spritz and a flannel-winged jay. But I didn't stop. I kept right on my way, because they didn't have eggs. They weren't laying that day. Then suddenly, boy, up that hill a short space, birds, they were laying all over the place. Great happy gay families with uncles and cousins, all laying fine, strictly fresh eggs by the dozens. Why, I'd have a scramble more super than super. Scrambled Egg Super Duper Beep Pooper Special Deluxe Salad Peter D. Hooper. Then I went for the kind that were mellow and sweet. And the world's sweetest eggs are the eggs of the wheat, which is due to those very sweet trout which they eat. And those trout, well, they're sweet because they only eat wogs. And wogs, after all, are the world's sweetest frogs. And the reason they're sweet is, whenever they lunch, it's always the world's sweetest bees that they munch. And no reason no bees can be sweeter than these. They only eat blossoms of bees on their trees.
And these hazelnut blossoms are sweeter than sweet.
And that's why I nabbed several eggs from the queet. But I passed up the eggs of a bird called a strudel, which is sort of a stork, but with fur like a poodle. For they say that the eggs of this kind of a stork are gooey like glue and they stick to your fork. And the yolks of these eggs, I am told, taste like fleece. And the whites taste like very old bicycle grease. Then I went for the eggs of a long-legged quong. Now, this quong, well, she's built a little bit wrong. For her legs are so terribly, terribly long that she has to lay eggs 20 feet in the air, and they drop with a plop from the ground from up there. So unless you can't catch them before the eggs crash, you haven't got eggs. You've got long-legger hash. But I didn't stop then, because I knew of some ducks by the name of the single-file Zumsy and Zucks, who stroll single file through the mountain of Zums, quite oddly enough, with their eggs on their thumbs.
And some fellows in Zums who I happen to know just happened to capture 1,000 or so.
And they wrapped up their eggs and they mailed them by air, marked, "Special delivery, handle with care." Then I went for some zips. Well, they're exactly like Zuffs, but the zips live on cliffs, and the Zuffs live on bluffs. And seeing how bluffs are exactly like cliffs, it's mighty hard telling the Zuffs from the zips. But I know that the egg that I got from the Zuff bluffs, if it wasn't the zips from the cliffs, was the Zuffs. I still needed one more, and I saved it for last. The egg of the frightful, bombastic aghast. That bird is so mean and that bird is so fast. I had to escape on a Joe aghast. A flight-footed beast who can run like a deer, but looks sort of different. You steer him by ear. All through with the searching, all through with the looking, I had all I needed. And now, for the cooking. I rushed to the kitchen to the place where I had stacked them. I rolled up my sleeves, I unpacked them and cracked them and shucked them and chucked them in 99 pans. Then I mixed in some beans. I used 55 cans. Then I mixed in some ginger, 9 prunes, and 3 figs, and parsley, quite sparsely, just 22 sprigs. Then I added 6 cinnamon sticks and a clove. And now my scramble was ready to go in the stove. And you know how they tasted? They tasted just like, well, they tasted exactly just like Scrambled Egg super dee duper dee pooper special deluxe salad Peter D. Hooper. Thank you.
Next participant is number 123, John Damis.
Have you ever wondered what the world looks like through a dog's eyes? What your dog thinks about? What he considers? Now, you have the opportunity to experience what concerns them most. Food, play, kibble, that dry stuff that we humans feed them. Food, mating, masters, and you guessed it, food! Unleashed. 9 dogs share their thoughts on the world here with us. By Penny Penwell. In the woods, meet a poodle, small and hungry. He might be fluffy, but his name is Cookie.
Life is never meaningless. There is always food. All day I sit and I consider kibble, its smell, its taste, its mood. After lunch, I walk back to the woods, me and my humans. And under the leaves there are so many crunchy things to eat. I shouldn't eat, but I eat anyway. Oh, they are so good! Even when they make me sick, at home or in the car. I like them. I like to eat. I brood about the taste of kibble hours before it's chewed. When I'm sad or sick, not up to par. I sleep downstairs in the bathroom, curled near the toilet. I'm not crude. Life isn't meaningless because there is food. Consider kibble. Its smell, its taste, its mood.
This New York bulldog named Spike thought he was number one. But when his masters brought home a baby, his life was no more fun. Hey, I was here first. Yeah, I'm the real baby. And a bumble like me was cute, cute, cute. When Master Lady wanted to have you, she carried my picture to focus on when her labor got bad. Hey, she hasn't taken my picture since. You think you special because you a human? What's your goal, newcomer? What's your take? I mean, you get everything. Stuffed titties. I'm older, and all I get is chains. Food. You get all the food. You sashay the house with boneless breasts in your fists. You get steak. You get eggs. I get killed. I mean, all I want is a steak. A steak. And some chicken. Gertrude, an old English sheepdog, has class. In her long life, she has never been crass. I grow old. I grow old. In endless dog's manure have I roamed. Shall I drink from the toilet? I dare say it tastes great. I shall sleep on their beds on those nights when they return late. I shall steal away the slipper and then steal away its mate. Can too much love really choke? Ask our Scottish Terrier, Mackie Mac, and he will tell you, it's no joke. Hugs, hugs, damn these hugs! It's the price I pay for being loved. Just when I finish me grub, she comes lurching toward me, wanting a hug. Yeah, hugs. I feel choked. It's the price I pay for my daily walks. Just when I'm playing chase the fly, she comes creeping toward me, that look in her eye. Hugs. She won't leave me alone. It's the price I pay for me raw hard bone. Just when I'm dozing, curled up in me wee bed, she's lying on top of me. I'd rather be dead. Reproduction is the meaning of life. But what's this husky to do? She's no one's wife. My biological the time has come. Soon I will be in heat. Oh, heat, heat. My mind turns to a big, strong husky from the north, with pale eyes and hot breath, and an underbelly wide and soft as snow. Not to mention macho boxers, prize poodles, collies, dachshunds, and red satyrs. I'm not even afraid of Rottweilers. Heat. Heat. Very small is this chihuahua's tummy, but all the food he will eat, if it is yummy. I dine in the camera of my finger. And even bread. He ate a bowl of dough and then
1 to 3 bilitan. Fluffy has left the building.
Barry the Basset Hound needs to pee, so he must beg on bended knee.
I'll just stand here till you notice me, sir. Sir, I'm still standing here. Still just standing here, waiting for you to notice me. Excuse me, sir. I need your well. I mean, you know. Well, it's hard to put this into words without being rude, sir. I need to void myself. There, I said it. I hope you're happy now that I've had to humiliate myself. Sir, I've got to urinate. I've got to pee.
Meet a vicious Doberman named Killer, who hoped to find himself in a modern-day thriller.
Part of me is missing. Part of me is missing. I measured from head to toe. I looked in every corner and climbed on every chair. But part of me is missing. And I looked, and it's not there! I'm hungry, just like before. I sniff people like I did before. But I've been diminished. There's less of me, not more. See, I feel there's something missing. I used to be complete. Now I find that I'm indifferent when a bitch walks by and eats.
And last but not least, meet Bernard, the St. Bernard. You can eat that. You can eat that. I'll eat that. Thanks a lot, guys.
Please take your seats so that we can continue. Last participant in the finals is number 9, Cara from St. Lawrence.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. I just told my mother I want a bra. Please help me grow, God. You know where. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret, by G.D. Bloom. The next day, my mother told my father we were going shopping for a bra. First, we went to the ladies' lingerie department, where my mother told the sales lady we wanted to see a bra for me. The sales lady took one look and told my mother that we'd be better off in the teen department, where they had bras in very small sizes. My mother thanked the lady, and I almost died. We went down on the escalator and headed for the teen shop. My mother went to the counter and told the sales lady we were interested in a bra. I stood back and pretended not to know a thing. I even bent down scratching a mosquito bite. "Come here, dear," the sales lady called. I hate it when people call you dear. I walked over to the counter and raised my left eyebrow at her. She reached over the counter and said, "Let's measure you, dear." She put the tape measure all the way around me and smiled at my mother. 28, she said. I felt like slapping her. Then she took out a bunch of bras and put them on the counter in front of us. My mother felt them all. "Now, dear, I suggest the Grow Bra. It grows with you. You're not quite ready for a double A. Suppose you try them on and see which is most comfortable." She led us to a dressing room with a pink door that locked. My mother sat in the dressing room on a chair. I took off my dress. I picked up the first bra and stuck my arms into the straps. I couldn't fasten it in the back. My mother had to help me. She adjusted the straps and felt the front of me. "How does it feel?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "Is it too tight?" "No." "Well, do you like it?" "I guess. Try this one on." She got me out of the first bra and into the next one. I wondered how I'd ever learned how to do it myself. Maybe my mother would have to dress me every day. The next bra was softer than the first. My mother explained it was made of dacron. I liked the way it felt. My mother nodded. The third one was fancy. It was lace and it made me itch. My mother said it was impractical. The sales lady knocked on the door as I was getting back to my dress. "How did we do, dear? Did we find something?" My mother told her we did. "We'll take 3 of these," she said, holding up the soft bra. When we got back to the counter, who should be there but Janie Looney's and her mother. "Oh, hi, Margaret," she said. "I'm getting some winter pajamas." Her cheeks were bright red, and I saw the selection of bras on the counter in front of her. "Me too," I said. "I'm getting some flannel pajamas for winter." "Well, see you Monday," she said. Right, Monday. I was plenty glad that my mother was down at the other end of the counter paying for my bras. When I got home, I carried my package straight to my room. I took off my dress and put on the bra. I fastened it first around my waist and then wiggled it up to where it belonged. I threw my shoulders back and stood sideways. I didn't look any different. I took out a pair of socks and stuffed one into each side of the bra to see if it really grew with me. It was too tight that way, but I liked the way it looked. Like Miley Cyrus. I took the socks out and put them away. My father congratulated me at dinner. "Well, you're really growing up, Margaret," he said. "No more little girl." "Dad," was all I could think of to say. On Monday after school, we went straight to Nancy's. She called the roll. "Gretchen?" "I'm here," she said. "Janie?" "Here," she said. "Margaret?" "I'm here," I said. "And so am I, Nancy." She closed the roll. "Well, let's get to it. We all feel each other's backs to make sure we're wearing our bras." We all were. "What size did you get, Janie?" Gretchen asked. "I got a Grow Bra," Janie said. "Me too," I said. "Me too," Gretchen laughed. "Not me," Nancy said proudly. "Mine's a 32 double A." We were all impressed. Now look, if you ever want to get out of those baby bras, you have to exercise, she told us. What kind of exercise? Gretchen asked. Like this, Nancy said. She made fists, bent her arms at the elbow, and moved them back and forth, sticking her chest way out. She said, I must increase my bust. She said it over and over. We copied her movements and chanted with her. We must increase our bust. Good, Nancy told us. Do it 35 times a day, and I promise you'll see the results. When we were through, Nancy opened her bedroom door. There were Evan and Moose, eavesdropping. They followed us down the stairs and outside. When Nancy said, Get lost, we're busy, Evan and Moose burst out laughing. They shouted, We must increase our bust. Then they fell on the grass and rolled over and over, laughing so hard. I hoped they would both wet their pants. That night, I worked really hard. I read the first 2 chapters in my history book. Then, I sat on my bedroom floor and did my exercise. I must increase my bust. I did it 35 times and climbed into bed. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. I just did an exercise to help me grow. Have you thought about it, God? About my growing, I mean. I've got a bra now. It would be really nice if I had something to put in it. Thank you.